Okay, so here we are. What we're gonna do next is in this video, we're just gonna add a new route. Okay. In the previous video, um, we see here we created a new method inside of Album DAO. Okay, and this one is for getting the album info. So I call it find album info. Okay, and inside the DAO, you can write as many um, methods as you want to that pertain to that particular table. Okay, so that's what you want to do inside of album DAO. And so I don't want to sit there, or I don't want to use this time rather to write up a whole bunch of methods that will go in the album DAO. You can think of what you would want to add in there, how you would want to query the album table in the database to get the data that you want in the way that you want it. Okay, that's totally up to you. What I want to do is we haven't done yet. We haven't set up any new routes. Okay, so we still have currently one route, and that is localhost 3000 slash API slash album. So we want to add some more endpoints to this and create routes for them. Okay, so let's do that. What we'll do is we will start off in our router.js. So I'm going to clear my router.js file. And what I'm going to do is I can go ahead and add the other input. We know that we have, other than album, we have artist, band, and label. I believe those are the remaining tables. Let me see. Show tables. Yeah, artist, band, and label. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and create the endpoints for those, and we'll do that right here. So this is happening inside response. I always like to do one, test it out, ensure that I can go from the router.js all the way down to the album DAO and then come back up. And that's what we're doing. We start a router.js. We have uh, our our individual DAO. Make sure that's connected to the DAO common through our DAO.js. And then we have our individual routes, making sure we connect our individual routes to the DAO.js and send the individual routes back up to router.js. So that's the connection that's going on. And um, maybe a graph. I don't have a like a application or whatever where I can do like a little drawing, a little diagram on the side, but maybe that would help you to understand what's going on as we engineer this, because there's a particular flow that we have. Okay, so but let's so here response.json again in route. I'm gonna do all artists like so. And this will be http ://localhost passing the port /API/artist. So it'll look just like the one for albums. Okay. So that's built. And with that, we need to make sure that we have an artist routes file. So I'll go ahead and do that next here, and that's going to go in the API folder inside of routes. So I'm just going to come over here and create a new file, and this is going to be artist routes. Check your spelling on that, okay? I know a lot of times, especially as new coders, we tend to not think about spelling, um, or just kind of neglect it or be kind of cavalier with our spelling. But I'm not saying that everything has to be spelled absolutely perfect grammatically, although it should, but be consistent with your spelling. Okay. And that's why it's important to, leverage your use of grammar uh, when you're building. Okay. So if the content or whatever that you have is plural, like an array, add the s or es or whatever. Um, if it's singular, make it singular. Um, and that way, if you focus on those little things, if you can be that detailed, it'll make the connectivity a little better. And I think a lot of us are seeing that or experiencing that um, as they're working on this and building, and you see the value of, you know, paying attention to the names and stuff and how you name things. Okay, so there's my artist routes. I'm gonna go ahead and set this up real quick. Okay, um, I'm gonna say const router is gonna get require express and then dot router because module dot exports router. Okay, I'm just gonna set this up right here, making sure that it is like that I can make sure that's exported so that I can import it. Okay, so just getting everything set up. So there's my artist routes. Okay, and I know that I will also need an artist DAO. Okay, so here in my DAOs folder for API, and well, my inside my DAOs folder, inside my API folder, you can see here, I'm going to create an artist DAO.js. And there's my artist DAO.js. And I'm going to do the same thing that I did for album DAO. So I can say const con is going to get require dot slash go to config slash db config, because we need to be able to query the database. So we'll need to connect to it, and that's what this line is helping us to do. We're importing db config so that we have the credentials to be able to do this. And then I'm going to say const artist DAO. It's going to get an object. And right now, I'll just pass in the table and artist like so. And then I'm going to module dot exports artist DAO like so. Okay. So let's pause right here. And we're going to continue with this, but we're going to pause right here. Let's go to our browser real quick. And inside the browser, let's refresh. And there you can see all artists. And I can see I made an error right here. I have a semicolon instead of a colon. So I need to change that. So I'm going to go to my router.js. There it is. Let me fix that. Make that a colon instead of a semicolon. All right. Come back over here, refresh. There it is. It's corrected. So you can see that this endpoint is almost exactly the same as the previous one. The only difference is like the very last node, instead of album, we have artist. Okay. So now that we got that, and I have my artist DAO, and again, I can write multiple queries in here. So methods that are particular to the artist table. So I can write as many as I need to here. Okay. Maybe, I want to get, well, based on the way my table is set up, or the artist is set up, I don't have a whole lot of information, but Let's say, if I had, let's see, all from artists. Okay, so I just have first name, last name, but maybe in here, if I had their date of birth, um, day they're deceased, if they are, maybe if I had and in which they performed, um, which decades or what have you, if their careers lasted. Maybe if I had, total number of albums that they've done or, their net worth, anything. Again, this is a very simple database, but if I wanted to, let's say if I wanted to have, you know, give me all of the artists that perform, you know, between the years 2005 and 2020, that 15-year span. Then that particular query, or that query is particular to the artist table. And since it's particular to the artist table, that will go inside of the artist DAO. And that's what I mean when I say, like, there are some tables, well, some queries rather, that are very generic, okay? And they can be applied for any table. And then there are some that are, particular, um, that are specific to a certain table. That, again, if I had for the artist, if I had, what their main instrument was, okay, then I could say, select all the artists who, play the trumpet, or the drums or what have you, electric guitar. Then um, I could retrieve that data like so. Okay. So, anyways, I have this set up right here for my artist down. I could add more to this, but I don't want to again focus so much on that. Let's connect this all together. So my artist DAO is ready to load up. Okay. And so then what I would do from here at this point, I need to make sure that I can get this out to the routes. And for me to get this to the routes, I need to go to DAO.js. Okay. And inside DAO.js, I'm going to create another object just like this one here. So I'm just going to copy this, paste it, and name this one Artist DAO. Artist DAO. And then instead of requiring Album DAO, I'm going to require what? Artist DAO. Just as simple. And then the last thing that I would do is I need to, well, not the last thing for this particular file. I will export artist DAO. So I add that to my module.exports object. And so now that I've added it to my module.export object, now this is ready to get picked up by artist routes. So I come back over here to artist routes. Okay. And what I could do is I could just copy album routes for the most part and just paste it in there. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and do this by hand so that, my fingers I can develop the muscle memory, but also so that mentally I can say, okay, what am I missing? Do I have everything? Make sure everything's included. So I got my const router gets require express dot router. Okay, so that's good. And then what I need to do is I need to import my artist DAO. So I'm going to say const. We're going to destructure that object in DAO.js. So I'm going to say artist DAO colon and then DAO. It's going to get require. We got to go to our DAOs folder. So that's dot dot slash dot dot slash. And so what that means is, let's look at this. Currently, our artist routes, here's our artist routes folder. And this dot dot slash, what that means is go out of your present directory. Okay. So our present directory is API. So we're going to leave API. So we're going out of there. Okay. And then I have another dot dot slash. So my next directory up is routes. So I left out of, well, I go out of API, then I go out of routes. And so then I need to go into the DAOs folder. And then from there, I need to go to my DAO.js. So again, this dot dot slash says, hey, step out of API. Okay, because artist routes is inside of API. It says go out of API. Okay. And then another dot dot slash, go out of routes. Okay, so I'm out of routes. So now I'm out in this space. Go into DAOs, go into DAOs, and then go to DAO.js. There it is. Okay. So once I've done that, now I can write out my my HTTP requests for my routes. So I can say router.get. Again, this path here, this is HTTP colon slash localhost colon port 3000 slash API slash artist. That's what this slash right here represents. Take a request and response. And what I want to do is I want to run that find all method that I have in DAO. So I say router.get and then DAO.find all, which takes a request. We need to pass in a request, the response, and the table, which is DAO.table. There we go. And once you have that, we're almost done. Let's add the other ones. Well, no, let me test this out first. So I'm going to test this out. So router.get and slash takes a request and response, and with that, to run DAO.find all, which takes the request, the response, and DAO.table. Okay. Now, once I have that, I go back to router.js, like I said. And now we need to say, hey, just like we did here with album, I'm going to copy that. Require. So now this should be ready to go. This one should be ready to go. And I'm going to use my REST client to test it out. Okay. So I'm going to come over here to REST, app request.rest. And this is going to be, get artists. Okay. So I'll say get HTTP //localhost 3000 /API /artist. Okay, there's my URL. And I'm going to send a request. I get a 200, so it looks like it's good. And there's the artist ID. There's all the information there that I have in this very small database. But it worked. So I got a successful request. Or successful response, rather. So cool. I know it works now. Great. I can comment this out. Now that I know that works, I can continue on with artist routes. So I got my my all. let's do our sort. Which is HTTP localhost colon 3000 slash API slash artist slash sort, and then we'll slash sort something. So router dot get slash sort slash colon sort, like so. Takes a request and response, and this will be DAO.sort. Okay, and again, that dot sort takes a response, takes a table, and then takes a sorter. Okay, so give me the response. The table is going to be DAO.table, and then the sorter is going to be request.params.sort. Now I could say, I think I should probably just say sorter just to be consistent. Yeah, I'll be consistent. So I'll make that sorter and request.params.sorter just to be consistent with one. Okay. And we can do the ID. So I can say router.get slash colon ID. Takes a request and response. DAO.find by ID. Find by ID. If I hover over and look and see, it takes a response, takes a table, and it takes an ID. So response, the table is DAO.table, and then request.params.id. All right, and then again, we can test it out. I'm going to say HTTP //localhost 3000 / API / artist / sort, and I'll say F name. Send the request. I get a 200. Is got them sorted by their first names. Cool. Also, if I want to go by ID, get HTTP //localhost 3000 / API / artist / I'll say 3. Now, the way I have this right now, if I click send request, let's look and see what happens without me commenting this out. Let's look and see what happens. I'm going to click send request. I get 200, and it returns. Oh, it did that first one. Yep, it didn't do this one here. So I got to do that one. That's the one I want to do. So I'm going to comment this out. That's one thing I got to figure out about this request, this REST client. See how this send request function works. Send request for the single, and that works. I get the single artist. Cool. Great. So everything's working, everything's connected, and you see how quickly we got that done. We were able to build out a whole new DAO and route for this just that quickly. And obviously, again, we can add more if we want to, if we need to. And And that's that on that. Now, last thing I want to do, and we've covered this before, is so for our here again, we're for our routing. Again, you can see that we're doing the same thing over, okay? And depending on the number of endpoints we have, this can get pretty long. So I want to change this up, and I'm going to make this a little more efficient for me. So what I'm going to do is right underneath my root route, I'm going to create an array called endpoints, and add, right now I can just add album, and I'll add artist. I'm not going to do the other ones yet because I haven't built those out yet. So you only have album and artist here. So I have album, then I have artist. I'm going to comment this out right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, hey, endpoints dot for each. Take each endpoint, if I can spell correctly. And what do you do with it? Well, we're going to say router.use backticks /API / and then $ curly brace, passing the endpoint right there. And then require backtick ./API / endpoint. Oh, that needs to be a backtick. Put backtick right there. Endpoint routes. So instead of me now having to type this stuff over and over again, all I need to do is add the endpoint to my array. Okay. So now if I come back, let's go here, refresh this. I click on artist. There are my artists set up. If I say /sort /L name, sorted by their last name, cool. If I say with the ID of 5, there I get my single artist. Okay, so this is you can see how the use of microservices work with this, and we can build out the rest of our endpoints pretty quickly and efficiently. And I try to write the code in such a way so that, one, we don't have this monolithic structure with all of this information sitting inside of, server.js or router.js, but also writing it where we can replicate the code over and over again and eliminate some possibilities for error. Okay, because if our code is written in one place and we just import the module, then if it's working one place, it'll work everywhere. Okay, so we're going to end this video right here. What I would like for you to do, if you're following along with this, is I want you to just simply build out the remaining 2 routes for the table. I mean, for the database, the label and band. Build those out independently. See if you can do that, and then after that, we'll hop into something else in the next video. Okay, so yes, if you have any questions about that, comments about my code or anything, or something that you found out that you would like to share, something that you feel would like be better than what I've done, I don't think I'm the very best. I know I'm good, but not the very best. But if you found something else and you want to share, drop it in the comments. Yeah, I'm always learning some new things. So, please help me out as well. Yeah, so I'll see you on the other side of this video.